Now, I'm very fortunate. I get to use some of the best lighting tools that I think exist in the industry. But for some of you, perhaps a 1x1 panel is the mainstay of what you're lighting with. And you know, when needs must, then we have to make these things work. This is the Tech Pro Filoni. It's a bi-color dimmable LED. You can see this is using these small pinned LEDs, which give you, you know, a reasonably good output. In this shot here, we've got a good exposure at, you know, 55, 60 IRE on the skin tones. The first thing you notice though is it's spilling a lot of light out onto the background. So what we can do is use our flag here to just control some of that spill. And that certainly makes a difference. It's not completely losing it, so let's just see if we can't move this a little bit further in. What you are seeing, interestingly, and I don't know, Fred, if it's worth spinning round, but you're seeing multiple shadows. Because of the LEDs being, you know, there's probably several hundred LEDs, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like 13 shadows. And that's the problem with these 1x1 panels, is that each light casts its own shadow. Now you can make this a little less obvious by using one of these diffusion pans, which just sits over the top of the light, sits on the Velcro, and that certainly helps to soften the image. It doesn't have any massive adverse effect on exposure, and if it does, we can just push it in a little bit more to bring that IRE back up. The trouble I'm having here is spill. I've got to try and move this flag around to get rid of this spill that we're seeing on the rear of the white paper here. And what I want to do is get rid of the spill, but not lose the intensity of light on my model. There you go, we've done that there. So that's using that 1x1 panel. Now, this I would say is the minimum size of LED that you really want to be working with. Can be battery powered, so if you're somewhere where you physically can't get power to, then, and this is the only option, then absolutely use it. What I want to do now though is look at some of the smaller LED fixtures and just show you what they look like in the scene. Now this is the Torch LED from Switchtronics. It's a blendable tungsten and daylight source. It's a very small source, and so what you're ending up with is something that feels like a very hard light source, not anywhere near as flattering as some of the other sources we've looked at. You want the source to be big and soft, particularly on women. Now, in isolation, it looks okay. But what's interesting is if you try and mix tungsten, daylight, and or LED in the same frame, strange color casts can occur. So one word of caution about LED panels. I've switched back to my tungsten light source on Deborah here. Tungsten is the purest form of light because it's full color spectrum. The full visible spectrum of light is present in a tungsten signal. With LEDs, part of the spectrum is missing, particularly in some of the lower cost LEDs. Now this isn't a huge drama if the LEDs are used in isolation, but if you're in a situation where you've got a tungsten light source and an LED source, what you get here is a very pure color of white on this side of Deborah's face, but what you've got down here I can see is a slightly yellowy green cast. Now, in this scenario, it's not so bad that you would think, oh, I can't use that. But if you're using lots of different LED sources, they can all display different color casts. And the important thing to remember here is you cannot correct that out in post without an awful lot of work. So any money you might save up front by using lower cost LED fixtures, if you've got the option to upgrade to higher quality fixtures, you're going to save yourself a lot of time and potential cost in post-production. And the last thing you want to be doing is giving your client work with green or strange color casts in their frames that they then spend a lot of extra time and money in post trying to fix, because that's a sure way to guarantee you will not get hired again.